Hello and welcome to Icebreaker, the one and only podcast where we break the ice.
Every week.
Every week. We reintroduce each other to ourselves.
We break the ice, then we put it back in the freezer, and it freezes again, and we gotta break it again the next week.
We gotta break it again. So here we are with a couple of rapid-fire icebreaker questions.
Right,
Nick.
Yeah, Ryan, what's up?
If you were an animal, what animal would you be?
I'm gonna say koala bear.
It's an interesting selection.
Yeah,
Interesting selection.
I thought so.
Yeah. Let's see. What else do we got? If you were the Miss World, what would your message for aspiring models be?
I don't know. Get out while you still can.
That's a good one. Solid answer. I approve. Let's see. Tell us something you hate doing.
This bit.
Okay, good. Let's see.
Come on, this is rapid fire.
Rapid fire. If you could have unlimited storage of one thing, what would it be?
Unlimited storage of one thing?
That's what it says.
But, hold on a second. Wait, hold on. Okay. Do I get an unlimited amount of this stuff as well?
Maybe. I would assume so.
Or is it just I would love to have infinite, an infinite hard drive. Because I can fill it with as much stuff as I want. But if it's like a room that I put something in and then infinite amount of those things are stored in it, obviously money. Yeah, come on. But yeah, if it was unlimited storage, I want unlimited storage. I want an Omni hard drive for all my devices.
Mm-hmm.
Like every device.
Mm-hmm.
In ways that doesn't even make sense.
Yes.
Like my phone and my Xbox One and my computer, just infinite hard drive space.
That'd be super.
So that one actually worked as an icebreaker, I think.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
That's going to do it.
We're good at what we do. That's all I'm saying. All right, time to put this shit back in the freezer. Till next week.
Till next week on the Icebreaker Cast. In the meantime, how about an episode of the Bear vs. Nightcast?
Hey, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
now the ice is sufficiently broken. We should have an episode of the video game podcast about nothing.
Yes, we should do that.
Let's talk about video games. Actually, I want to mention that today's July 1st.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
And as I said before, this is a video game podcast where we talk about some interesting things we did this week in the world of video games, and maybe some news if we can get to it fast enough.
News, huh?
Before we start talking about video games, Ryan, why don't you how you doing? What's up, man?
How am I doing?
Yeah, how you doing?
You never give a shit about me.
Oh, that's not true. That's not true.
I don't know, man. We're just fucking. We're doing a late one. It's tomorrow.
Yeah, it is. That's crazy.
Yeah. I'm up way past my bedtime.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you were working past your bedtime.
Realistically, yeah. Yeah.
So what you been up to? Tell me something you did that wasn't a video game.
You
want me to go first so you think about it?
Yeah.
Right, so I've been...
Put me on the spot here.
I've been getting into watching movies that are not necessarily good. You know what I mean?
Do you have an example?
So I've watched... Within the past week, I watched Sucker Punch.
That game.
It is. It's game-like. It is game-like.
Is it?
Yeah, because they do these missions, and they have a VO, not a VO, a guy tell them what to do in the mission, and this is your role, and this is your role, and it's some crazy 5-person co-op game. You ever seen that movie?
No, actually.
Damn it, it's fucking weird.
It sounds weird.
It's so this girl gets, her mother dies, and then her stepfather is like a bad person, and like then he finds out that her and her sister are going to inherit the fortune, and so he goes and kills this person's sister, and then locks the older sister, who's the main character, up in a mental asylum and gives a guy like $2,000 to have her lobotomized.
Oh, gross.
But then, like, that happens like 5 days after. There's like, oh yeah, so I got a guy, a lobotomy guy, coming in like 5 days, so I'll get it done then. In the meantime, her and the girls who are stuck in the insane asylum escape into this. They have this escapist fantasy where they can like ignore the fact that they're in an insane asylum, but they fantasize that they're hookers.
Why?
I don't know. That's the craziest thing about the whole movie, in my opinion. Is their escapist fantasy? They are virtually prostitutes. Like,
that's a weird thing.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I have not. I unfortunately I haven't. I've been like super busy. I haven't gotten to the last part. I know how it ends, but I haven't watched the last like 20 minutes of the film. The ending is kind of fucked up. But in between, it's like punctuated. Like, they have like this Inception dream within a dream shit where they go into this like video game world where she's using a samurai sword to fight like robotic samurai.
Wait, was that the movie with that like? It was like a blonde chick, and she has an incredibly short skirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
that's
I have.
Sucker Punch, man.
That's not the only thing I remember about that movie, but that's the only thing I remember about that movie.
It stands out.
Yeah, I remember people were kind of upset about that skirt.
It's a thing. Like,
yes,
and also in that movie, Vanessa Hudgens, where it's like. She's like got like a sexy aviator outfit on. I think people should be more upset about that, honestly.
Wait, the sexy aviator bothers you?
That's more bothersome. Yeah, like that shouldn't exist.
Nah, you can be a sexy aviator.
So like the action is cool at times. So like in isolated bits, you're like, "Whoa, this is kind of cool," and then you're just like, "Oh wait, this is like the weirdest movie ever." That's like all about sexual abuse or something, and like it's trying to be really deep, but I'm not sure it actually is.
I don't think it is.
Like I think the guy wanted it to be deep. I think Zack Snyder went in being like, this movie's going to be deep as fuck, and I don't know if he succeeded. But the action at times is really cool.
Well, there you go. That's something.
Yeah, I've also other bad movies I've watched. I was just watching, and I had to stop so I could podcast. I was just watching Transformers 4: Age of Extinction with Mark Wahlberg.
Is that the one where Optimus Prime has a sword and then he rides a dinosaur?
I think he rides a dinosaur later. Did he not have a sword in the other ones?
No.
Okay, he definitely has a sword in this one.
Oh, that's exciting.
And I mentioned that Mark Wahlberg is in it, and he's phoning it in so hard because he's Mark Wahlberg.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch represent.
Like, I'm Mark Wahlberg. My family owns Wahlburgers. I can do whatever I want now. Maybe $2 billion, Michael Bay. And then he did, and then he's just like, joke's on you. I'm not going to act well. I'm going to phone it in the whole time.
Can I tell you my... hold on, let me count. 1, 2... Can I tell you my 3 degrees of separation from Mark Wahlberg's story?
Yeah. Please.
My boss is my boss. My boss has a girlfriend, and that girlfriend works at Wahlburgers and sees Mark Wahlberg sometimes.
She's seen him multiple times?
Yes. He shows up sometimes.
I guess that makes sense that he would do that because his family owns that business.
I think it's... I don't know what the other Wahlberg is. It might be Bobby.
Bobby Wahlberg. I think there's 2 other Wahlbergs.
I think there are.
Have you ever had a Wahlburger?
I haven't had the pleasure.
On hamburger related... I gotta talk about hamburgers for a second now.
Okay. No, this is fine.
Have you ever been to Bobby's Burger Palace?
I have.
What'd you think?
Shite.
Not very good.
It's very bad.
Did you get your burger crunchified?
No.
For people who have never seen Bobby Flay, and by this I mean because every single time Bobby Flay is speaking or on television, he's talking about crunchifying burgers.
Wait. pause. Before you tell me what crunchifying a burger means, does it just mean covering it in his ginger hair gel? Does
no,
it just mean
his ginger hair gel especially for gingers. No. You put potato chips on the burger.
Why would you do that?
Because it makes it crunchy.
Fuck that.
It's free.
Garbage.
That's why you do it. It's free. It costs nothing. Everything costs $1 billion at Bobby's Burger Palace. But except for crunchification, because Bobby, like, every time I see him on the Food Network, he's just like, guys, listen. Potato chips on the burger. And everyone's like, oh my gosh. It's like Food Network star. It'll be like, guys, we're making hamburgers today. And he goes to his team. He's like, guys, listen. Potato chips on the fucking burgers. They're never going to see this shit coming. Like, someone's got to taste it and be like, oh my god, it's so crunchy. How did you do it? How'd you make a good burger crunchy? I love it. It's wonderful.
Potato motherfucking
They're like,
chips.
I'll never tell you. I'll take that secret to my fucking grave.
Can I just...
Okay, Five Guys Burgers and Fries.
Yep.
That place is pretty good, right?
Yep.
Can you taste... What do you think of their fries?
I was just going to say, my ideal world is to drive to In-N-Out Burger, purchase a double-double, and then drive to Five Guys and purchase a bag of French fries. That would be like my perfect...
I've heard people say that they think Five Guys fries are gross because they can taste that they're fried in peanut oil.
Those people are stupid.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. First of all, it's hypoallergenic or whatever. I know someone who cannot eat peanuts or he'll die. He eats Five Guys fries on the regular. So, like, this oil is so far removed from peanuts. How could you possibly?
Yeah. Right?
I really just want to take people who say that and be like...
And wring their
have
necks.
them do a blind taste test of fries.
No, I really just want to have a Five Guys down the street from an In-N-Out Burger so that I can go to In-N-Out Burger.
Is In-N-Out Burger... I mean, is Five Guys even on the West Coast?
There was one when I was in San Diego, but it was just very far away from the In-N-Out Burger.
Here's the thing about San Diego that I'm sure you realize.
Yes.
Everything is far away from everything.
Right.
At any given moment.
So I can't fulfill my fast food fantasy of double-double plus Five Guys fries.
Are you going to get extra sauce from In-N-Out Burger to dip your Five Guys fries into?
What do you think? I'm stupid? Of course I'm going to get some extra sauce.
And you usually... Sauce. So you usually just get the regular fries. You don't get the Cajun fries?
You mean... There's Cajun fries?
Yeah, you get Cajun fries. I think they're a little bit heavy on the tarragon, but they're good.
Tarragon's gross.
Tarragon is super gross.
Sign me out.
It's worth giving it a shot. For those of you who don't know, Five Guys is a burger joint. When you buy fries, here's how they do it.
Five Guys
get a cup.
Jump in a bag.
Then
they shake the fries around in the bag, and then the Five Guys jump out of the bag, and then they're like, "Boy, that was messy."
They're like, "Oh, we've made your fries delicious. You're welcome." No, they get a cup and they fill the cup with fries. They put it in a bag and then just throw more fries in there on top of it. So you eat those fries and you're finding bag fries for days. They're all over the place.
That place is like I get a little French fry, which is like the smallest size, and it's like a tiny cup, and then 4 more of those tiny cups just thrown in the bag.
They literally have like a special little like 9th pan that they keep by the fryers of like extra fry dumpage.
That's great.
That being said, a little bit overpriced.
Yeah,
for what you're getting, a little bit overpriced.
In-N-Out Burger remains king.
You think In-N-Out Burger is like that much less expensive?
It is. It's extraordinarily less expensive. You can get like the same kind of deal for like $6.
But here's the problem. As you mentioned before, there's no scenario in which you get to choose between those two things. It doesn't exist.
Well, like I said, my perfect scenario is double-double plus Five Guys fries.
You getting that double-double animal style?
Hell yeah, bitch.
All right, just checking. I'm just saying, you never get the choice. You get one or the other, and you have to live with it. Or you move.
That's true. There's always like a rumor that it's like, oh, In-N-Out's going to come to Manhattan. Or In-N-Out Burger's going to come to Boston. And I'm always like, fuck you. No, they're not.
They probably should.
They would make
if
so much money.
If they like money, they should do that.
They don't like money.
Although
They don't. I've decided.
I mean, we like burgers up here. I mean, there are plenty of burger places there already, but I think they would still give Five Guys a run for their money.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's good.
Burgers.
Right, that'll do it for this week's episode of the Cheeseburger Cast, where we talk about cheeseburgers only. And also movies. Oh, here's another bad movie I watched.
Okay.
Gigli.
Why did you watch that?
Because I hate myself.
I mean, yeah.
I was just like,
yeah.
I know that this movie is bad, and it's like legendary in terms of badness, and I need to subject myself to it. I also almost watched Crossroads with Britney Spears. Like, I was between those two. And
What was that movie with Kelly Clarkson and the other guy on American Idol that season? What was that movie?
I don't have any idea what you're talking about. Do you mean Clay Aiken?
No,
or
I
Ruben
don't.
Studdard? No. No.
Those.
Those guys were a different season.
I think they were on the American Idol at the same time.
Oh, man, the Soul Patrol guy?
The fuck?
Never mind. I only remember, like, super vintage.
I Googled it.
Okay. So, like...
From Justin to Kelly.
Oh, my God, that movie did exist.
Yeah, no, you should watch that.
If it's on Netflix, I'll watch it soon.
Okay, I'll let you know. What was his name? Dear God, what was his name? Justin Guarini.
I don't even know who that is.
Justin Guarini. I think he was like the runner-up in American Idol that year.
So for whatever reason, I was like, I found all these movies on Netflix that are bad, and I was like, I'm either gonna watch Crossroads or I'm gonna watch Gigli. And the thought of watching Crossroads starring Britney Spears like caused me actual anguish. Like I knew
I would have picked that one.
I knew all those movies are bad, but like I really didn't want to watch that one. Was not in the mood for Britney Spears bullshit.
I don't think anybody is.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan. What did you want to tell you something you did? Do you want to tell me about something that you did this week, or if I wasted enough time for both of us?
I think you've wasted enough time.
All right, then let's talk about video games. Okay.
I went in ham on burgers with you, so that's enough.
Did you ever make that ham?
What?
One time we hung out, and you and your dad were like, "We're gonna make a ham."
Oh my God, we did make a ham.
Oh yeah, how was it?
It wasn't hammy enough.
Oh man, like it wasn't smoky enough.
No, it wasn't like dry enough.
Oh, nobody likes wet ham.
It was wet ham. It was weird, but it's kind of good actually. It was kind of good.
Like,
I liked it.
Sliced it and then like baked it more, at, like low temperature.
No,
that dry.
I think I did a wet brine and that was a mistake.
I don't know how else you'd brine a ham.
Dry brine. It's you basically just rub it with salt and let it sit.
That doesn't. That sounds like just rubbing it with salt and letting it sit. That's not a technique.
I don't fucking know, but yeah, I think that's what they do instead of like submerging it in liquid. Anyway,
video games.
Hey,
video game. I want to talk about Her Story.
I also want to do that.
Because we both played this game. We're going to talk about it in very general terms.
Yes.
And then at a certain point, we're going to say, hey, if you don't want Her Story spoiled for you, stop listening now. And then Ryan is going to be so kind as to put in the description of this podcast the time at which we stop talking about Her Story.
I may even put in like a audio cue to be like, skip to blah 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 minutes and seconds now to avoid spoilers.
That would be sick. Also, now you have to.
Now I have to. I committed it. It's on record.
Hey, so Her Story is. I mean, people say it's a detective game. I wouldn't say that that's true, but
I would say it's a detective game. But the word detective and how you are a detective is very loosely used.
That is true. You're not a police detective.
Actually, I think you are.
You're definitely not, dude. Hold on. Just save that for the spoiler part.
All right.
So, you're given this, like, 1994 ass computer to click around on. You get the interface.
It's an ass computer.
Oh, every computer was an ass computer in 1994, man.
That's the truth.
And they give you a database of clips from a series of interviews with this woman. But the only clips that you can watch are her responses to questions And then they put like a little thing in there that's just like, yeah, I guess the videotape with the questions that were being asked, it got lost in a flood. And I'm like, I guess they must have had two different cameras. One point at the detective, one point at the lady, and then the detective camera got lost. But I don't know why the audio wouldn't be... Whatever. Here's the thing I've learned about this game. You have to accept its, for lack of a better word, dumb bullshit. Like, you have to just go into it and just be like, yes, this is what this is, and I have to accept it for what it is and just immerse myself in it.
Yeah, it has given you a set of very strict parameters.
Yeah, so the gameplay, and I use the term lightly.
Did you use air quotes?
No, I didn't. I should have,
like
though.
it.
Yeah, I did. I did the
like
air
it.
quote voice. You're absolutely right.
Motherfucker.
So for some reason, this technology existed in 1994, is that they break down each of her responses. They have a full like breakdown of every word she says, and if you type in a word, it'll bring up all the clips that word is said during. Yeah. But you can only look at the 5 first occurring instances of that word being said.
Yeah, so it gets kind of funky when like you look up words that got a lot of hits.
If you look up the name of the deceased person, it's 62 videos.
Right.
And the first 5, you only get so there's 6 interviews, I think. Mm-hmm. It's a total of 6 different interviews. And the first interview is the one that always shows up first because they only show you like it starts on like June 24th is like the first day and ends on like that, July 3rd. So all clips of the June 30th interview, or June 24th interview, are favored. Those are the only ones you'll get to see. So it's about finding words that are said in not that many different videos. And it also makes the 6th interview super hard to get to. But
that is the one that has the most like
that's the one
information in it.
That's the one you need.
So the one where you learn some shit.
Generally, you get 4 clips that all contain. They show you like how it works. You get 4 clips, and each one she says the word murder in, and they're very different clips from different interviews, and it kind of gives you a baseline, but it's also very deceptive.
Right.
It's very, very deceptive, especially the last one where she claims she's like, it's not me, you have the wrong person. Mm-hmm. Very deceptive. Right. And then you have to just try to start putting in words and find new clips. And then you find out that her husband's been murdered, and you find out that she's a suspect in the murder because obviously the spouse is the first person they look to.
Always. Yeah.
I learned that from Law and Order, so it's real.
I think I learned that from... No, it must have been Law and Order.
Or not something similar. CSI or NCI. No, NCIS. That's stupid. That show sucks.
No, you know where I learned that? Burn Notice.
That's a good show, man.
I'm
not even going to talk shit. I think that's a pretty alright show.
So
it went off the rails later, but...
It did. I want to ask you kind of like... No, okay. Just generally, like, what your process was for selecting words.
I'm going to warn you, it's stupid.
Okay, right. Go for it.
My idea was I was obviously looking for words that weren't said that often. So I would literally, like, watch a video. I put in a word and give me, like, 4 or 5 videos, and I'd be watching the last video, and I'd say, oh, shit, I need a new word to put in. And then she would say a word, I'd be like, I'm going to search for that fucking word.
So here's what I did. Initially, I tried to make some kind of spider diagram thing, starting with like the first person she talked about. It got very, very complicated very quickly, and so I ended up just watching each video, and I wrote down all of the nouns and all of the verbs.
Holy shit! One notebook later.
It was only like 3 or 4 pages. Not like the bullshit nouns, but like the ones that actually mattered. You know,
I know. Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? And then I also started writing down like phrases The phrases were actually super helpful.
Yeah, because I think you can search for actually entire phrases, like in air quotes.
Yeah, so if you
not in air quotes, in regular quotes.
So like when you pull up that computer screen, if you move the video player away, there's like a couple of readmes.
Yes.
If you actually read those, it tells you how the search algorithm picks up things. And so I actually Googled or searched for the example, and it led me down a pretty weird path.
Oh, what was the example? Do you remember?
It was like yes, I was there. So I looked into that.
I'm going to tell you the word that really kicked things off for me, but I don't want to mention it until I think we're getting really close to the part where you have to talk about spoilers.
Almost.
So they give you these README files, explain how the game is kind of played.
Yeah.
And then they also give you a second README file that basically says, hey, I got you access to this shit. Basically, I filed a Freedom of Information Act or some bullshit to get you access to this, but you really have no idea why you're looking at it. Mm-hmm. And they don't necessarily ever tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very much
weird.
It's a very unique storytelling experience. I think it's a great game, but I also, much like Neko Atsume, not sure if it's a game.
I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt and call it a game, despite the fact that I'm also the one who thinks Neko Atsume is a game.
Yeah, all right. I think it's more of a game than a movie, but like
there's definitely a sense of progression, and that's the thing I look for the most is is there an A to X or whatever?
Multiple.
Do I get more stuff? Do I is there a narrative that I can progress? In this case, it's find a bunch of clips and put it all together and make it a story.
Is there a narrative I can progress? Is probably. I mean, I don't even think that this game passes that test in a conventional sense, because the narrative. It's super great. Like, it's a super great idea. Like, I love the storytelling in this game because it's so. I've never seen anything like it. The narrative that you want to progress, like when you're playing Final Fantasy, that narrative in her story already exists. So you have to not only randomly find different clips, and then you basically put them together in your brain, and you say like, oh yeah, I know that interview. They make her clothing styles very distinct, so that you can tell the difference between interviews. So you put different moments for different interviews in place in your brain, and you say, oh, that happened before that one, and then this happened here, and then and then you learn something from like 30 minutes in. You'll have all these facts, and you'll learn something from like the third day of interviews that changes your perspective of like the fifth day of interviews, and you're like, holy shit, I gotta go back and watch these other one. Oh my god, it makes so much sense now. It's so disjointed, but like I basically just kept it all. I like just try to keep everything straight in my head, and
that was the hardest part for me.
Kind of just like moving the blocks, like switching positions of the blocks, and like moving them in and where it fits, and like. But somehow it works. Like I think I get it, even though I haven't even seen every clip.
I've seen most of them, and I don't think I quite understand.
And then, so multiple people, you and someone else, has asked me the very simple question that every game can answer yes to, and it's like, does this game end? Or is there a point to this game? And I never know quite what to say.
For this?
Yes.
Specifically?
For this game. I never know how to answer that question without, without telling too much or not enough or being deceptive. Because that's a super loaded question. I mean, obviously it's like, Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, you beat the final boss. You gotta watch a credit scene. The game is over.
So here's the thing about her story is that there's definitely a moment where the game says, okay, you've seen enough, and then something happens. But
I think it's I don't know what that's based on. If it just you watch enough videos,
it just happened to me.
I think it's just it happened to me somewhere between, because you have a Steam achievements that's tracking the number of videos you're watching.
Yeah.
So you have one for 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%. somewhere between 25 and 50, the event you mentioned happened to me. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's because I watched a particular set of videos or because I watched a certain amount of videos that they would allow this to happen.
Realistically, I want to say it's because you traveled down a rabbit hole and watched certain videos that like prove the points.
I think you might be right.
What I mean?
Because there's also a set of Steam achievements for watching particular videos.
Right, and I'm pretty sure in my case I was way over 50. I actually want to double check before I completely lie to your face. But I'm pretty sure I was over 50% watched when that thing came up.
Can it be spoiler time now?
Yeah, so we're gonna spoil the shit out of her story. I'm gonna insert an audio cue right before we start, telling you when to skip to if you want to avoid spoilers at all costs.
And I think you should.
And I think you should, because
you should.
The story in this game
is like $5.
Incredibly fascinating. Yes,
and
even I think it's $6 when it's not on sale.
So if anything, the story is like a little bit cliche, but the way the story is presented to you is like unlike anything I've ever seen. So it's worth being in the dark about it, even though that's one of my favorite things about this game is it was constantly giving you new information that changed everything. Everything changed like 4 times.
Yep.
So play this game. We're going to have to get deep into it and see if we both came to the same conclusions here.
Yeah.
Starting now.
Skip to 58 minutes, 36 seconds, to avoid spoilers.
So the word that I used, I looked up, right away I looked up the victim's name, Simon. Yes, and one of the things they mentioned the fact that he's like Simon. He works with mirrors, or he is like he gave me a mirror for my birthday, and I was like, hey, mirror. Maybe that's not really in that many videos. I searched for mirror, and then she was talking about mirrors, and she said the word reflection, and I was like, I'm going to look up reflection, and then it was a video about her. It was one of the I think it was one of the last days, and she was like, and then I saw my reflection looking at me from across the street. And we were like, we're the same person. And then it turns out, so this lady's name is Hannah. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that she has an identical twin that no one knows exists. Her parents didn't even know Eve existed.
Debatable.
She tells stories about how they would dupe their parents. Like, she told a very specific story about how Hannah was going to school that day for them. And so she got dressed for school, and she went to go leave, and then Eve thought the coast was clear, so she went to go downstairs and have a wee, because this game is British, and I was like...
Very British.
I don't know, before I even started watching the video clips, I started getting hints that the game was British. I was just like, fuck, it's British. God damn, she's gonna be so British. And then I got over it real quick, but...
Yeah.
So Eve went down to have a wee, and her mom... was like, Hannah, why don't you dress for school? I thought you were... And then Eve hightails it back to the room, and then Hannah comes out, 2 seconds later, fully dressed, ready for school. And she's just like, oh, okay.
For me, there's enough here where I'm sort of on the fence between...
Yes. I'm going to tell you why. Just continue.
I'm still after seeing over 50% of the available videos in this game, I'm still on the fence between whether or not Hannah and Eve are 2 separate people or one person with a personality split.
They are 2 separate people.
How can you prove this? Because
Eve has a tattoo on her arm that says Eve.
All the videos of Hannah, she has long sleeves.
No, those are Eve.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
I'm
also, during the altercation with Simon, it's revealed later that Hannah is the one who actually killed Simon. She didn't mean to do it. They got into a fight.
Yeah.
In the altercation with Simon, Hannah acquired a bruise on her cheek. Mm-hmm. And Eve does not have that same bruise. In between 2 different interviews, there's one where she's wearing the red coat, the red jacket.
Yeah.
And they ask her about the bruise, and she says, I guess I just have a quick metabolism, so these things kind of come and go. I've struggled with this a lot. I was like, I didn't know either. I couldn't be sure. And I figured between the tattoo and the bruise. Do you ever see the clip of the woman? I know it's Hannah because she doesn't have the tattoo. Like, there's so many ones in the interview where she's wearing the blue, like, flowery blouse.
Yeah.
So many moments in there that I just know that that's Hannah. She's, like, on the table. Like, she mentions Eve during that interview, but as a friend that she had when she was little. And she's just, like, she's on the table, like, oh, Hannah, you fucking idiot. Why are you talking about Eve? And then the guy comes back in, and she's, like, acting natural.
I don't know.
So I think for sure they're different people.
Okay.
Because they weave this whole story. So when they did the whole changing, they switch places all the time, including when they were, like, dating boys. Like, they would switch places in between dates.
Yeah, that was weird.
And so
that situation.
So, like, 10 years ago, they meet Simon.
Right.
And they try and do the whole switching thing on their first date, and then Hannah's like, no, he's mine. And so...
Then she bangs him.
Yes, and she gets pregnant, and they have a shotgun wedding, and then Hannah tragically has a miscarriage. And the doctor's like, actually, it's because you're infertile. And then, at this point, they're married. They move into Simon's parents' house. And Eve can no longer pretend to be Hannah's double anymore. So she goes and tries to live her own life. She gets her tattoo. And she starts wearing a wig all the time. And she's, like, playing in bars and stuff. That's the other thing. The guitar-playing woman is Eve. Because she's a musician. Hannah's not necessarily a musician.
Okay.
And so Eve wears this wig, and she goes and plays in bars, trying to make rent and whatever. And one time she meets Simon, and Simon is very much... This is like 10 years later.
Yeah.
They've been married. Hannah and Simon have been married for 10 years. Eve meets Simon, or Simon sees Eve in the bar, and he's very entranced by her because she's basically just his wife wearing a wig. So he's like, there's something I like about this lady that I can't quite put my finger on.
It's my wife in a wig.
And that's alluring to me because I care about my wife.
Right.
And so they eventually, like, he's coming back to see her because he's enamored with her, and eventually they bang, and Eve gets pregnant.
Yeah.
You got that far? You picked up that much info, right?
Yeah, I did. But
and then the night of the murder happens.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens? They have a fight. Hannah and Simon fight on her birthday, and basically they claim the fight is over. Like, at one point she says it's over some dumb stuff, or like just, but nothing specific. And she says it's about another time she claims it's about the baby, which is weird because Hannah's infertile. I think that may have been Eve saying that. And then basically the fight is about the fact that Hannah finds out that Eve is pregnant with Simon's baby, and Simon's been having an affair with her. And not only that, but the one-of-a-kind mirror that he made specially for Hannah, he made one specially for Eve as well, which is very, very meta. These people are reflections of each other, and they both get unique mirrors that are reflections of themselves. Like, the mirror is reflecting the mirror. Very interesting detail, in my opinion. So Hannah finds out all this. She waits for Simon wearing Eve's wig and confronts him about it.
Mm-hmm.
The mirror gets broken. She gets bruised, and she accidentally kills him. She calls Eve. They're like, okay, what really matters is that we keep this baby because this baby is us and Simon. And they kind of have this weird, we're the same person, like they have this weird connection thing going on,
Yeah.
So they forge this alibi where Eve, who I think at one point is described as being the better driver, or the other way around, I can't remember. She drives to Ireland, and she intentionally gets into a car accident. She hits a parked cab, and then she's like, oh no, I'm pregnant, take me to the hospital. I need to go to the hospital, make sure the baby's okay. So she goes to the hospital. Not only does the hospital confirm that you're like, oh hey, it's Hannah, what's her name? And she has got, this is definitely her, and this is her alibi. She's in like at the time of the murder, she was in Ireland, but they also confirmed that she's definitely pregnant. And since Hannah's infertile, then that's Eve at the hospital. Right?
Maybe.
So I was left with a couple big questions. And I actually did, so the Steam Apps folder has every video clip in it, and you can put it all in a playlist and just watch it in order. I started doing this, but there's like over an hour and a half of video in this game.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I didn't think it was going to be quite that much. But it's about a 3-hour game, so with typing and trying to figure it out, like going back.
Yeah, I played it 2.8. So, okay.
I was left with these big questions. Let me see if you can answer any of these big questions.
Well, I have big questions.
Okay, I might be able to answer them.
Okay.
So, one of my questions is, does someone go to... So, let's see. So, the last interview, it's basically Eve coming clean about the whole thing.
Yeah.
She takes a lie detector test at one point, and I have not seen the entirety of the test, or I don't even know if the entire test is there, but it shows her saying... They ask her what her name is, and she says, my name is Hannah Smith. And then she's like, oh, shit, sorry. And then they give her the results of the lie detector, and they say the only question that you got wrong was the first one, your name.
This is why I think it's split personalities.
But the bruise. The tattoo.
I don't know.
I think it's a temporary tattoo that she just, like, put water on, and then she had a sweet dinosaur on her bicep.
Maybe.
No. Get out of here.
I don't know.
There's too many physical things. Like, that has to be the case. But the big question is, to me, even after the lie detector test, I still am not sure if that's actually Eve in the final one. Like, here's the confusing thing about this game. For me, the big thing that holds me back from understanding everything is, like, they've forged this alibi and everything. They made up this story to, like, protect whoever, and, like, deceive the police. So, like, part of the time is spent lady lying to the camera. Are we supposed to believe her lies, or just know that she's lying? She's like, oh no, she's crafty. She's lying to police on purpose.
I don't know.
So, like,
right?
So that's what I was saying before about accepting the game's rules. I think because they only give us so much information, they only can give us so much information. We have to just accept the information as true. There's no room to allow us to doubt that information, because if we doubt basic facts like the final interview is actually true, then we have nothing. Because the final interview is what holds everything together.
Right, but if that's all just someone lying.
Yeah, so if we actually get into the mindset of like, but what if she's not telling the truth? Then there's nothing holding the story together. Because the whole gameplay is basically trying to get pieces of that last interview. And then you get a little bit of the truth, and then it makes more of the story make sense. Like, that's basically the gameplay. So I believe that we're supposed to believe that that's Eve, but she's wearing a long sleeve shirt, and I can't see her goddamn tattoo.
Yeah,
so
that's a big deal.
Part of me is like, but what if it's actually Hannah? And then the other big question is, does someone go to jail? And who is it? Because Eve definitely eventually gives birth to the child. But, you know, I'm sure you can have a baby in prison if you have to. Like,
yeah, I think that happens.
And I don't know. Like, at the end, the final clip of the entire game is the woman who we are perceiving to be Eve says she's done talking and she wants a lawyer. But she kind of just sold Hannah down the river for murder. So the way I'm understanding the story, this is how I think it goes. They forge the alibi to try and get them off completely. And, like, just nobody goes to jail because they couldn't have possibly murdered him. And then the police start to get wise. Their plan doesn't work. And so they send Eve in to just be like, listen, this is what has to happen. Because at one point she says, Hannah and I decided that the most important thing is the baby. So it's like, okay, so now that we're going to get caught, you have to go in and tell the truth. And Hannah goes to jail. But then, like, she's aiding and abetting, and she tells them way too much info. Like, she spills the guts about the whole twin thing, and it's just like, that's not necessarily necessary. But for the game, it is. We need that info.
Yes, that's absolutely true.
So yeah, that's the biggest question for me: is that Eve in the final interview? And the other question is, who do they think they're interrogating every time? Like, do they think that they're talking to Hannah every single time? I think the answer to that question is yes. But what do you think?
I don't know. I'm so of two minds.
You really think it might be the same person?
I do. There's like a couple like little details that just like bug me about just the legitimacy of, their whole twins at separated birth thing, where it's just like, how could somebody live in an attic for so long and not be found out?
And that's another thing about accepting the world's universe. Is
Yeah,
we just have to go, yeah, that happened. That can happen. You know what I mean, though? Like, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, we have to suspend disbelief and just say, yes, definitely that could happen. Because if we doubt that a basic fact like that, then we have nothing.
Okay, so here's the other thing about, so like if they're the same person, at some point, because like she has burns on her hands, right?
Yeah.
So if she at one point decided, I need to have different fingerprints, and one thing you can do is burn your fingertips, and that'll give you different fingerprints, which would explain.
I think they probably did that on purpose. I think, but I'm not really basing that on anything. Besides the fact that, like, they say they're going to take her fingerprints now, and she's like, oh, by the way, I burned myself a lot on teapots and stuff. Wink.
Yeah, so why...
As if, but she was like, she knew it was coming. Like, they didn't like take her fingerprint, and they're like, "Huh, it's not working." They're like, "I wonder if it's because I burned myself." Like, she was already anticipating mentioning the burning of her finger.
Yeah.
Like, in my opinion, it seems like it was intentional because a lot of what they do is to subvert the police's.
There's a lot of things. It's all little bullshit that like will never get solved. Where she's just kind of talking about the other one as if they were kind of just there in the room, and she often gets confused about who did what when.
They're very. I mean, the idea is that they're very spiritually connected. I mean, this idea of like the fact that the baby is so important because it's one of them. It's like just one of their babies with Simon, and they both care about Simon. Somehow they're like they have this greater good mentality, like, and that's crazy. Like, people don't do that. The idea is like because they're twins, there's some like crazy shit. The whole idea is they're reflections of each other.
Right.
So they're like they almost think of themselves sometimes as the same person.
It's so very confusing because
most def.
I mean, realistically, they spent so much time being each other that like at a certain point you just have to wonder like did they clearly must get confused between who did what, and this just makes this whole murder thing very complicated.
They also explain that. Maybe that's supposed to be part of the. Maybe that's the ambiguous element.
Yeah.
Is Eve claims that it was Hannah wearing her wig waiting for Simon, but for all we know, it was actually Eve, and Eve's the one with the bruise. Because I don't think we ever see. I don't know if I was really paying attention to the bruise and the tattoo and making sure that it lined up. But once again, I think if we go and look and try and say like, oh, he's trying to trick us, and then he's trying to double trick us, and we try and like circumvent and like backtrack and try and like think too much about how he might be subverting us in the story, I think then we're getting too far from it. The whole idea is that we're supposed to just find the story pieces and then put it together without thinking too much that it's like all a lie. But they have this moment where they're both asked the same question of like what happened the night of the murder, and they both give almost identical answers, but they're like, the pacing is different. Like it's word for word the same thing. Because at one point they mentioned the fact that they kept a diary every day that they went to school, so that the other person would know what was going on.
Yes.
And they wouldn't like just go to school and be like, oh yeah, yesterday. the teacher said you have to get up to the front of the class at the beginning, whatever, and they would know what they're getting themselves into. So they're pretty good at coordinating their shit, which is how they hatched this plan to like forge the alibi, and they synchronized their stories, and I don't know.
I'm assuming you saw a clip of, I can't remember who, because fuck, but
what was she wearing?
I don't remember. I want to say, God, I just don't know. But it's where she's clearly tapping out something in Morse code.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not Morse code. It's some other thing. I think they eventually said that they had invented it. I tried to look into that.
That they invented it? Like the two of them?
Well, not that they invented it, but the signals that they used, like the actual dots that they used, meant something only to them.
Really?
I don't know. Maybe I could do some research into that.
I'm looking.
But it's like Google, like a website on the Google that someone who has probably cracked it.
I'm looking in this Rock Paper Shotgun thread about this game, and a lot of people have come to the conclusion that she's saying, "Bye, Hannah, love you," is what she's saying.
Huh. I wish I knew when that happened.
Yeah, me too. I just saw it at one point. I'm like, "Oh, this is relevant," and then I can't. I didn't do a good job saving clips. But there's this guy in this thread who says that, and he's supporting the two people thing that you're on. He said, I'm just going to read it. Assuming that they are in fact two people, and the fact that Eve says towards the end, quote, "My sister is gone and she's never coming back," or words to that effect, I took it to mean that Hannah committed suicide. That would leave Eve to have the baby and take over Hannah's life, and Hannah, having killed Simon, isn't around, so they can't arrest Hannah for the murder.
Huh.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely possible.
Yeah.
Because I do remember her saying that now about my sister's gone, she's never coming back.
Yeah. I remember that too. You should
and then you should. Oh, she also says at the very end, she says, "I didn't want to speak to a lawyer because all these stories we've been talking about are just that. They're just stories." I'm like,
yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, you should look into this Rock Paper Shotgun article. It's really cool. It's called "In Conversation." RPS discusses her story, and it's 3 different authors talking about the game, and kind of like how we're doing it, just being like, well, "What did you do? How did you get here? Blah blah blah." And then the comments are even more interesting.
So, what did you say the Morse code thing said? Supposedly,
it's I lost it. It's like, "Bye, Hannah, love you."
It's called the knock code.
The knock.
Is it "Bye, Hannah, I love you"?
Yeah, bye, Hannah, love you, like the letter U.
Well, she does a fake. So, like in a final interview, she explains the woman who we're perceiving as Eve. She says, like, "Oh yeah, the knock code is something that prisoners of war used to use," and then she does an example of it.
Oh, really?
It's rather long.
Maybe
is that the one that maybe that's the one he's talking about?
It might be. Yeah, it might be.
Because she knows, like, I don't know. Because I mean, Eve fully understands that she's going to be arrested after this, and they kind of have things in place because she didn't do it, and she confesses to not having done it, but she's still gonna be in trouble. You know?
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh man, this is one hell of a game though.
This game's fucking great.
Yeah, it's like totally outside of my wheelhouse in every single way.
I thought for sure you weren't gonna like it.
No, I thought it was rather fantastic.
Also, at one point, I just searched for the word "fuck."
Did you?
Yeah,
I did too.
Because I was like, I bet there's some moments that happen where she like cusses because something happened.
Yeah,
and so it's probably like something unique happens in the moments where she says shit or fuck.
Did you get the Lucky Dip achievement?
I got everything except for 75, 100%, and the one about
Score draw?
yes, which is I think you have to play the game in the trash can and get a draw.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, no, her story's great.
I like I said, this game's incredible. This is one of my favorite games of the year, although there's not really that many.
Uh-oh. I think we should move on, though.
Yeah, I think we give it enough time. I do want to find out more about when this Morse code thing happens.
Yeah, we can.
I'm in the middle of still watching all of them in order.
It'll come up clearly.
Yeah, definitely. Also, I had this whole crazy theory in this game about, like, at one point Hannah says, or Eve says, like, oh yeah, I can't drink caffeine while I'm pregnant, but the doctor said I can have 1 cup. So it's just like every time she's drinking water, it's Eve, and every time she's drinking more than 2 cups of coffee, it's Hannah. And then it turned out A, she was drinking tea, and B,
she drinks coffee too.
But at like certain moments, like there's certain clips where she got 2 cups on the table, and I was like, that's definitely Hannah because 2 cups of coffee. Well, first of all, one of them is tea, and the other one is sugar, like the cubes of sugar. And I was like, fuck.
No, like literally, I looked up. If you look up coffee, I believe it's 2 different clips of Eve and Hannah. One of them takes sugar and cream, and one of them takes it black.
Yes, yeah, I do remember that.
That's like one of the only moments where I'm like, oh shit, I bet you they're 2 different people.
Yeah, but if someone with a personality disorder would have different tastes. Also, there's a moment like I think Eve was never trying. They were always pretending to be Hannah, so Eve never wanted to let on that she had the tattoo. The only reason she revealed the tattoo is because she was wearing a white shirt at the beginning of that interview and spilled coffee on it.
Oh, so, really?
Yes. That's why if you looked up fuck, you would have found that.
I did look up fuck, but
and there's an achievement for finding the spilled coffee one. She spilled coffee on her shirt, and then she has to take it off. And she's wearing the blue T-shirt underneath, and you can see her tattoo.
I found that one, yeah.
So the question is, A, did she spill that cup of coffee on purpose because she didn't want to drink it to hurt the baby? Or was it a big accident, and then she, like, accidentally had to show... I think maybe, like, spilling of the coffee was an accident, and then she revealed the tattoo, and then the police got really suspicious. And that's what eventually happened. Where things went haywire. Maybe not at that exact moment, but that was just part of... Because I think eventually the police getting wise to what happened is a very important part of the story. That happens, like, off camera, and then that's why they have to do all that stuff. It's really interesting about that... That thing that guy in RPS, he's got some good fucking ideas.
Mm-hmm. You should read that thread. It's super interesting.
I'm gonna read it after I finish watching through everything. Yeah, I think if I watch the entire final interview, I'm gonna be like,
"You'll get
damn, son."
Yeah,
I hope so.
Oh man.
Okay.
So we're done.
Yeah, we're gonna start talking about her story. We're gonna talk about another game that. I don't want to talk about it for too long because we talked about it last week.
Uh-oh.
But there's still things that need to be said about Fire Emblem Awakening.
Shit.
I've been playing this game like crazy. I seriously got re-addicted to this game. I was just like...
It's all my fault.
For a different reason. I remembered after the fact, after we talked about it, I remembered that, like, I finished that game it's like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's been out for a while.
I played it a little bit after the fact. I got my 3DS about 2 years ago, and it was April because I got it for my I got it for myself for my birthday, and it was like, hey, if you buy 2 games, you get one of these games free. And I was like, oh, Super Mario 3D Land, 3D Land, that game looks cool. And I bought Fire Emblem Awakening and Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon.
Yeah, I remember that.
Promotion. I think those are both good games. And so I was after the fact that I was playing Fire Emblem, but it was still kind of new. So like 2 years ago, I beat the game in like a week or less than a week. I actually had gone on vacation, and I remember playing a lot of it in my free time.
Yeah.
And I remember when I beat the game, I was like, holy shit, that game was great. I want to play it again right now, knowing what I know now, and do a little, like, min-maxing or something. And I was like, no. Wait. I was like, wait a little while. and you'll be able to appreciate it that much more when you pick it up again.
Yeah. So that's happening, right?
Yes. And I was like, seriously, like, I stayed up. Like, I was like, I need to go to sleep because I had to work in the morning. And I stayed up like an extra hour just laying in bed playing Fire Emblem Awakening.
There you go, son.
I also had to disprove you.
Yeah, I still think that game is bad.
I mean, no, I had to get Crom married.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Before Mission 11. I'm not even at Mission 11 yet.
Motherfucker.
I've been shipping people like crazy.
Motherfucker.
So that's the thing that really kind of caught me this playthrough. Is
shipping?
Yeah, so like, minor spoiler, there's this whole element of time travel in this game. So, like, if your characters get married, and we touched on this, we just didn't explain it last episode. If your characters get married to one another because they fight next to each other all the time,
yeah,
and some of those conversations are so fucking goofy. It's so good.
Fire Emblem's good for that.
I love it. Like, I legitimately love it.
Yeah.
And so they get married, then suddenly they have a child in the future, but this child, when they become like of age to be, say, old enough to be a unit in Fire Emblem,
right,
they pop out of a time portal in your time, and you can recruit them to your party. And the kid has different hair color based on who the father is, and he has different classes and skills depending on who the parents are, and even his ability or his stat distribution is stat growth and stat maxes are different depending on who the father is and what class they were.
Crazy.
It's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
So, like, I know that Sully, you know Sully?
Yeah, she's that pouty-faced, short-haired girl, right?
Yes. She gives birth to a knight. Mm-hmm. So I shipped her with Laquanda, or whatever that guy's name is, the Swordmaster, or the Miradon you get.
Lon Kui?
Yeah. Whatever his name is. So that the knight that was born would have, like, higher skill and speed than your average knight.
Yeah.
And then I know that Lissa gives birth to a Myrmidon, so I had her marry Kellum, or whatever his name is, the knight.
Yes.
So that he'd be a Myrmidon with defense.
Mm-hmm.
And then I made my main... So I originally was going to have a female main character marry Crom, and so that they'd have super babies.
Yeah, super
and
babies.
Lucina would be able... that would allow Lucina to, like, class change to any class in the game.
Oh, really?
Because you can do that. That's inheritance that you pass down.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing...
Is it limited by gender still?
Yes. Yeah, there are certain male classes and certain female classes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the other thing is that your main character has a child in the game named Morgan, and they're always the opposite gender from you. Uh-huh. So if I was a lady character, then my son would have been a son, and he would inherit birthright from Crom, which is like 10% extra chance to proc skills.
Okay.
But daughters from Crom inherit Aether.
You want that Aether?
I want that Aether. So instead, I went with a canon ending. Crom married Sumia, the first Pegasus Knight who joins your party, and she gives birth to another Pegasus Knight. But this Pegasus Knight knows motherfucking Aether.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet, man.
Yeah.
And then, they can't become a lord or anything, but Crom has abnormally huge stat growths. So Cynthia, Sumia's daughter, can potentially be like one of the best units in the game. Especially, and also if you try really hard and you class change Sumia to Dark Flyer or something, and they learn this skill called Gale Force that everyone who like min maxes this game like beats off to. Gale Force, it gives you another action if you defeat an enemy on that turn.
Right.
That's apparently like the holy grail of skills, and only female characters can get it.
Yes.
And so if you get Sumia to Dark Flyer level 15, she gets that skill before Chapter 11, which is ridiculously stupid, time wasty BS, then Lucina is born with Gale Force.
Crazy.
And Lucina basically becomes the best character in the game.
Crazy. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah, this game is has mad depth to it. And so my main character is marrying the red hair Pegasus Knight lady, who gives birth to a mercenary girl
Mm-hmm.
And I think mercenaries are really cool.
Yep.
And I'll probably make her
Totally.
into some sort of combination magic class. So she'll have like she'll like have swords and like that. Like there's like some knight class that rides a horse and hits things with swords.
Yes.
Might do that. But Ryan, I know you don't like that game.
Nope. I don't think that's a good game.
I think it is.
Okay.
I think it's a super fun game. So here's something crazy that actually this came to light in the past week, which is kind of timely. So Fire Emblem Awakening was going to be the last Fire Emblem game ever.
That actually was known before this.
So, and
It is for a while.
Right, but it came to pass that basically the reason that they're making another one is because it sold so well outside of Japan.
Oh yeah, Fire Emblem Awakening did super well, and nobody expected it to.
Yeah, because I think part of it is because of casual mode.
Do you want to know what I think it is?
What's that?
It came out at a time where the 3DS library was pretty light.
And it's maybe still one of the best games. I know you don't like it.
Yeah,
one of the best.
But
it's
no,
still one of the
yeah.
best games on the 3DS.
It is. Yeah.
As even now the library's it's full or fuller. It doesn't have like a whole lot of like huge gems in it, but so one of the things.
Yeah.
So because the developers thought it was gonna be the last game, they put everything they wanted to into that game. Like they said,
put so much shit
they said
in this
like,
game.
guys, think about all the stuff we never put into Fire Emblem because it was infeasible or whatever, and we wanted to save it for later or just put it all in there.
Yep.
Which says to me, well, I believe that casual mode is one of those things. That they put that in there because they wanted that to exist in one of their games.
Yeah, probably, but it still sucks.
Well, then you're poo-pooing in what was it? Who made this game? Not level 5.
Intelligence system.
Intelligence system. You're poo-pooing their magnum opus. They put everything they had into this game, and you still looked me in the eyes and you said, "Your game's bad.
Yeah,
Your game's bad."
Yeah, I will do that.
Although I do understand what you're saying about there being too many fucking characters.
Too many fucking characters.
It's a
Too
lot.
many.
It's a lot of characters. Although I
Too
did
many.
not. I got a second seal today. Did not use it on Frederick. Like I just somehow.
Well, good for you.
I just somehow like I don't know how I did it. I just didn't do it.
Well, good for
I don't
you.
know. I must be like some sort of fucking superhero that I just didn't do that. I don't use them anyways.
The government's going to come to your house and pick you up for scientific research. I hope you're ready. Because you're a monster.
I am a monster. I will not deny that fact. I really like that game. Okay, so here's just a little anecdotal thing. I love that game. I think everyone should play it. I think even Ryan thinks you should play it.
Nah.
Well, they should see if they like it or not.
I would encourage you to just play another Fire Emblem game.
I would encourage you,
Instead.
if you were to play another Fire Emblem game, you should probably play this one too.
All right, fine.
The amount of critical acclaim there is for this game says to me that it's maybe a game that people should look into, because I think it's got a lot of appeal and it can be really fun and it's deep. So here's the thing. Okay, so I put this in the Google Doc and I was like, does the weapon triangle really exist?
Yep.
And I don't know if you interpreted it the same way I did. So there's this one story mission where Crom's just like going to places, just walking with his dudes, just going places and hanging out and going to do some diplomatic royalty shit. Everyone knows that Crom is famous. He's a prince.
Yeah.
And everyone knows about his badass sword that he uses to kill people with. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And presumably everyone knows about the weapon triangle. And
Actually, no. Canonically, no.
and that's the only explanation. Because these bandits, they send literally out of, let's say, 100% of the units in that fight, they send 90% of them with axes. And they're
So
like, bro, did you not... Like, Crom could seriously... Not only are they dragon riders, so his falchion just, like, cuts them in twain.
Yeah.
But his... Like, he could literally... Like, at that point in the story, Crom could literally just go stand out in the middle of the map, and they could fly at him, and he would just dodge every attack, counterattack, and kill them in one hit. And just like,
Yep.
did you guys not think about this?
Okay, so here's
Sword beats axe.
So canonically, no one knows about the weapon triangle except for the tactician.
Oh, yeah, because they introduced some hilarious bullshit in this game where, like,
they
the
did.
tactician is just like, what's going on? I can see a grid, and I can see numbers, and what is happening? I can see everything. And it's like,
So Fire Emblem 7, which is the first one for GBA, the tactician, which was you, was a character, but they were never on the map.
oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I remember
And
that.
After that, they stopped doing that for a while. And then, for whatever reason, in this Fire Emblem, they're like, let's make that a dude who fights.
Because they're like, that's something we've always wanted to do.
Crazy. It was so crazy.
That is...
But-
I forgot about that whole thing about how the tactician can see the Matrix.
Right, and no one else can. So when the bandits are just like, yeah, let's get Crom, yeah. They just get pwned.
So no one ever notices, just like, I keep trying to hit this guy with a sword with my axe, and it, like, never works.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing, as far as I'm concerned. Like, the weapon triangle, basically, sword beats axe beats spear beats sword.
Yep.
But it's in different ways. Like, I find, like, axes, maybe because they already have a low hit chance, it's just, that's the thing, they always miss swords. But like,
Yeah, so-
but like spears can hit axes just fine, but they might do less damage or something.
So the thing I thought you were going to get into was the fact that the weapon triangle kind of isn't really a big deal in this game, like strategically.
Yeah, there is. I mean, if you're leveled up enough, you can just throw whatever you want at anything, and it doesn't even matter.
That's true of like any Fire Emblem, but I feel like in this one in particular, Lance is king. It's the perfect balance of hit chance and strength.
Yeah,
I feel swords are super weak in this game, and I don't know why that is. But I just find that they don't deal enough damage, or there's not enough characters with high enough speeds for double hits.
Well, I chose my main character was going to have good speed and bad luck.
I pick skill, which I think is a mistake.
I don't know. I was feeling speed. I went with speed, and he gets double hits like all the fucking time. Like,
Crom gets double hits because he has that skill that gives him double hits.
Yeah, and then also, I don't know if the weapon triangle even applies to, like, when you're next to somebody and they support you and they hit the enemy. I don't even know if the weapon triangle even exists at that moment.
I don't think so, but it might.
I don't think they can miss.
'Cause I know they
once the link attack triggers, I don't think it can miss.
I don't think that's true. I think it can miss.
I don't know. I think they might have just removed that dice roll because it'd be a dice roll of a dice roll.
Yeah.
And that's just, like, kind of...
That's
That's not
bullshit.
beyond them, but, like, they're kind of just like,
Yeah.
let's just fucking not do that in this one. That's why standing next to people, and then, like, other people can actually, like, take hits for you. They don't just take hits for you, they just block all damage.
I wish some of that stuff was more clear on who's gonna do what when for you.
They have... so as you go to attack, depending on which mode you're looking at, in the bottom left-hand corner, there's two little symbols. There's, like, a chain link and a shield, and percentages next to them.
Oh, really?
And it's chances that the person who's assisting you, and the person who assists you is always the person who has the most assist points with you.
Mm-hmm.
The person who is assisting you there's a chance that they'll attack after you do, and the chance that they'll block any incoming damage.
Interesting.
And it can get, like, at S rank, it can get pretty damn high that they'll follow up, like 75% chance plus.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's a super important part of the game. I like that they have an emphasis on that, because that's always existed, but now it feels like really important, and you want to do it for, like, so many different reasons.
I don't think there's ever link attacks.
Yeah, well, they had the whole, like, relationship thing, and it did various good things.
It was never very robust. It was always pretty laid back.
Yeah, they made it
it was pretty much hit chance.
They made it a big
in a
fucking
lot of
deal
ways.
in this game,
Yeah.
and I think that's cool, because there's more than one reason to do it. And you can also pair your units up, and depending on who you pair with who, they get first of all, they automatically attack with that person. So
Yep.
you can raise relationships or take advantage of relationships that way. But depending on their best stats, they give boosts to that person's stats.
Yeah.
So if you have a Pegasus Knight support someone, then they get better resistance and speed or something like that. Mm-hmm. That's kind of a cool feature too. And that's basically how I got Chrom and Sumi at a level S. You can buy an item called the Reeking Box, and it causes a random encounter to appear on your map tile. Mm-hmm. And then I just did that like a couple
bunch
of times. It really didn't even take that many times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you always get 1,000 gold for doing that, plus like at least a weapon or two. And then you can buy more Reeking Boxes for 500 gold each.
Oh, there you go.
So, like, yeah, I mean, you can...
You're still making money.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, there's grinding that exists in this game. I don't think you really have to do it, honestly. Mm-hmm. I think this game could be... Until you get to the very end. There's a shitload of DLC for this game, Ryan.
There's a fuckload.
Literally, like, $60+ worth of DLC.
I don't want any of it.
Yeah, plus it's, like, it's all, like, really weird endgame stuff. I think there's even DLC character classes.
There are, yeah.
Like the Bride.
Yep.
Whatever that does. And I think you can also legit get Marth to join your party.
Yes, you can. There's a lot of DLC.
Yeah, I mean, for a game that thought it was going to be the last Fire Emblem game, they
DLC.
just put a bunch of shit. I mean, like, if you really like that game and you want to play it more, they give you that chance. But
fuck that.
It costs a little bit too much. I'll probably never do it. But I really like that game. It's
good.
A really good, fun game. I'm sorry that you don't like it.
I'll get over it.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I want to talk about one game.
Okay.
Really fast.
Okay.
Because that's how fast I played it.
Yeah, it's not a particularly long game.
No. I played a game on Itch.io called Stick Shift.
Itchy. Is that what they call it?
That's what people on Isle Thumbs call it.
Itch.io. Oh, okay. It's itch.io.
It's itch.io. Itch like you itch a mosquito bite.io. So Stick Shift.
Can we just tell them?
Yeah.
So
Nick sent me this Google description of what this game is, and it's amazing.
Just today, he asked me if I'd heard of Stick Shift, and I said I don't know what that is. And then I was like, I should Google it oh yeah. I was like, oh yeah, I just saw someone on YouTube play this game. And then also along with it, like Google gave a very short synopsis of what this game is.
Yeah.
Please, Ryan, tell us.
Stick Shift is an autoerotic night driving game about pleasuring a gay car.
It's so succinct. Like the person who created that game must have written that. It's perfect.
It probably.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's very good. So I downloaded that game.
Oh, you had to download it? It looked like a Flash game.
No, I had to download it. You might be able to play it in a window somewhere, but I downloaded it. So here, it's very simple controls. It's click the mouse to do stuff. So you click the mouse to turn the car on, and then you move it into first, and then the guy's just like sitting there kind of like, yeah, okay, cool, we're driving the car. And then you get your RPMs up a little bit, you shift to second, and he gets this like, oh.
Yeah, it's like really like,
it's so good. The facial expressions of this dude is so good.
You forgot to mention the fact that you have your hand around the stick shift and you're stroking it.
Yeah, you can move the mouse up and down to jerk the stick.
I thought you had to.
You don't have to. But it's very hard not to. It's something to do while you wait for your RPMs to get up. I almost want to say if you jerk the stick shift fast enough, it makes your RPMs go higher.
I think it does.
And that's probably what you need to do because eventually the whole goal is to get to 5th gear, and that's when your car climaxes.
Don't you mean top gear?
5th gear, top gear? I don't know. Sure. Whatever.
Jerry Clarkson would be so disappointed in you. When he's sad air horn.
So yeah, the whole goal is to get to the highest gear, and then I think your car comes. And then
oh my God, you just said it. You just said it.
I did.
I was gonna use the word climax.
I used it the first time, but then I don't have time for that shit.
You know what makes me really uncomfortable?
Is what
I'm
I
okay
said.
with I'm okay with the car coming, like you say the car comes.
Yeah.
I don't like the word. I don't like cum. I don't like that word.
Oh, really?
I don't like it. Just makes it feel so much worse. You're talking about like you're joking with your friends, just talking about like, whatever. Cum.
Yeah.
When you're talking about the noun, you have to use
Yeah.
that word. You have to.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about the act, then I spell it COME. It just brings a little bit of decorum back to it.
Nah, man.
I just don't. I'm okay with talking about it, but in my head, I'm envisioning it COME. Just like I envision every time someone says the word gray, it's GRAY. And if you put an E in that word, I hate you.
No, I put an E in that word.
Every time?
Every time, yeah.
Man. What the... Why?
That's how I spell gray.
I don't know why.
That's how I always spelled gray. Anyway, so you want to get to Top Gear, then your car comes.
Okay, yeah.
But if you don't do it fast enough, the police pull you over. And then there's like a real world timer. And if you click the mouse, you blow kissy faces at the cop.
What?
But this doesn't help you.
I didn't know about this part.
This doesn't help you, and it only makes your timer go up. And I didn't realize this. I thought there was like a point to the flirty faces, and so I made kissy faces at the cop all the way to like 13 hours of real game time.
But what does the real game time do for you?
You have to just sit there and wait while the officer processes you.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
So you had to just leave the game idle while you went to go have lunch because you had to wait 13 minutes?
No, 13 hours.
Oh, shit. That's a lot of clicking.
Honestly, it wasn't that much because I think it was kind of exponential. But I even tried like, well, what if I just uninstall this game? It's still new. It was crazy. So you
just stopped playing that game?
Yeah, you have to stop because it's 13 hours of real world time.
There's got to be a folder in like your.
I mean, there's probably I just didn't bother. I'm like, well, I'll just go to work now.
Yeah, I mean, if you had to do that anyways, that's probably a good move.
Yeah. So I did that. I don't know. It was kind of weird, and I'm like, I kind of like this. I'm not sure why. It was mostly because of the awesome faces that dude was making.
It's hilarious.
It's so funny. I laughed out loud like 5 times, like every time I switched gears.
Yeah, like I was
so good.
I watched the video on YouTube, not knowing what it was, and then it's like, oh, it's like a car driving game. And it's like, oh, he's stroking the stick shift like a penis. Oh, he moans every time he shifts gears. It's that kind of game.
I really wonder. I wrote this in the Google Doc. I'm not sure if the car itself is gay. I think it's just a euphemism for jerking it.
That's why he gets pulled over by the cops because he's just masturbating while driving a car. It's probably a law against that.
I imagine he's driving erratically.
Yeah, because you don't have any control of the way he drives. I can only assume that he's just like
he's probably just swerving all over the place. But based on like all of the other games that this developer has made, I'm sure the car is gay.
Oh yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
You know, he's made so many. Like I think there's like literally a game he made that's just like you look at pictures of dicks, and
how is that a game?
I don't know. I don't even think I'm making that up.
That doesn't seem like a game at all.
I don't know, man. I didn't download that one. Anyway, Stick Shift is cool. You can get it for free on itch.io.
Itch.io. Oh, itch.io. That's not what that's called.
Oh, apparently, he also has a game where you spank a dude. Bondage style called Hurt Me Plenty.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So this guy, what you're saying is that this guy's developed a style, and he's really sticking to it.
Yeah, he's very much all about his dirty games.
Yeah, I mean, as an
It's called the dick game is called Cobra Club, and it says free dick pic studio game about body image.
It's the best description ever for a game that's just here's a picture of a penis, here's a picture of another penis.
There's another game that's apparently a sister game to Stick Shift and Hurt Me Plenty, which is called Succulent, which is literally just a dude sucking a popsicle like a dick.
Oh, I'm aware of the existence of that game as well.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that one isn't even a game.
I don't think
like there's
so.
not even like a way to win like in Stick Shift. It's just
It says a short interactive music video game thing where you watch a dude suck a blank for a few minutes.
a blank. We may never know what he's actually sucking.
Yeah. Anyway, Stick Shift is cool. I think we should take a break.
All right, let's do it. Oh, man, every time got these new it's called newfangled dry erase boards, and every time I use my Sharpie on them, it just stays there forever.
Whoa, you're using a Sharpie?
Yeah, it's a dry erase board. Anything you put onto it erases in a dry fashion.
No. You can't just put a Sharpie on anything and just think it's going to come off. That's a permanent marker. It says it right on the marker.
I put it on my skin because I know it won't come off. I'll put it on paper and it won't come off. But this is different. This is a dry erase board. It's made
No.
to come off of it.
No. You need a special writing implement.
I don't understand.
You need a special tool to write on a dry erase board. You need Expo dry erase markers.
What is 1996 and the dry erase board was just invented, and I still don't understand how this works.
It's a great little marker. You open it up. Low odor.
Oh, low odor? But what if I want to get high on them?
You can't do that. We're at school, dummy.
Oh, yeah, I guess. I mean, we're in the teacher's lounge, so, like, we can do whatever we want.
That's true, but in the classroom, gotta stay off those drugs.
Yeah, you're right. I shouldn't do whippets in front of the class.
Shouldn't,
Sets a bad
couldn't,
example.
don't do it. So you Expo dry erase markers. You're gonna write real good with them.
Expo dry erase markers. Don't do whippets in front of kids. Okay, we're back. We're back, and we have news.
Oh shit! Where's Joe?
Not in a lot of stuff. Hey, I did finding news without Joe this week.
Yeah, I bet you did.
It's actually this wasn't like a lot of crazy shit happening this week. No broken games or hilarious missteps in monetization of products that already exist. Like a little bit of Nintendo news. Remember that game Pokemon Shuffle?
Yeah, that game is free to play garbage.
It is. It is both of those things. It's coming to mobile this year.
Even better.
This year, where it belongs. Because
is it going to be even more riddled with free-to-play garbage?
I'm expecting it to be equally riddled because it already has pretty much that right amount of riddlage of garbage. Like it's right there already, so I'm assuming they're just going to port it over.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
I wish they would.
I don't know. That's fine. Nintendo can make more money this way.
Okay.
They'll use this money to fund Pokemon Zebra Print.
That's not. Nope.
And Pokemon Cheetah Print, its sister game.
Nope.
Or whatever the next one's going to be called.
Yeah, probably.
So I read this funny thing this week. Remember the whole Final Fantasy VII remake that was happening? And is still happening?
I've heard of it.
So, Tetsuya Nomura is a rather prolific director, employee of Square Enix. He's worked on many games.
This is true.
Both as a character designer and as a director.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, it was not properly communicated to him that he was going to be directing the remake of Final Fantasy VII.
Nobody told him?
No, not in a proper, correct, way they really should have. So basically what happened is he saw an interdepartmental, hey, just so everybody knows what's going on here, we're making a Final Fantasy remake. And he was probably sitting there hey, cool, that sounds alright. I bet people really want to play that. And it's directed by Tetsuya Nomura, and he's like, What? Does that say me? Oh, okay. I guess I'll just stop directing and producing Kingdom Hearts 3 to go do this BS.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, he didn't stop doing it. I guess he's kind of doing both, which means, like, the timetable for both of those games are who the fuck knows now. Because the last we heard, and this is, like, my favorite part of E3, was the Kingdom Hearts 3 demo, where at the end it just said, now in development.
Yep.
As if just, like, we're not even going to pretend to know when this shit's coming out.
2019.
So basically, Tetsuya Nomura is working on 2 massive games, of which have no sort of even vague release table.
I have a sneaking suspicion that his involvement with Final Fantasy VII is pretty minimal.
Apparently, he's like the guy who directed the original game isn't really doing it anymore. Mm-hmm. He's not on for the remake necessarily. He's doing other stuff where he's not with a company or something, and so he's the closest they get to like a head of development or whatever.
Well, this would be a really great opportunity for some young hotshot to come in there and
fuck everything up.
Fuck it all up. People are terrible. Next.
Yeah, people are terrible. So I found this article on Eurogamer that talks about this hilariousness. Although apparently it appeared first on Kotaku, I should probably read that one. That should be the cool thing to do.
Is it by Patrick Klepek?
Nope.
I like Patrick Klepek.
Hold on. Where is it? There's a quote here. So I called up Mr. Kitase and said, "It says that I'm directing a game for some reason." To which he replied, "Of course it does."
Of course it does.
It turns out that both men thought the other was going to direct it. What a laugh! That's in the Eurogamer article.
What a laugh.
So that's pretty hilarious. I think
that is pretty humorous.
It's like, ha ha ha. What do you mean I now have to develop like one of the most anticipated games of all fucking time? Let's do it.
Hey man, no pressure.
It's like them. That's like if someone called you tomorrow and said like you have to come in and finish The Last Guardian.
Like me personally?
Yeah, you.
Oh, good.
Fucking crazy. Okay.
I can do it.
So, Steam news.
Uh-oh.
Steam is quickly becoming the newsmakers.
No, Nintendo's newsmakers.
Fuck
off.
Nintendo. It might happen someday.
No.
So there's all this stuff, there's all these systems in place. There's a Steam inventory. You can trade like game items for money in like, CS:GO, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and like Dota and all that stuff can be traded for real money. And some of those rare items, although completely cosmetic, go for a lot of money. Like there's this knife, a silly looking like knife in Counter-Strike Global Offensive that people sell daily for $400.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Nope. Dead serious.
I want $400.
There's a bunch of crazy Europeans doing this stuff. Yeah, well, go unlock chests with keys until this knife pops out and then sell it. It's like,
no, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to get involved in this crap, especially because if you get scammed, they will not. So for a while, you'd be like, "Hey, I got scammed. This is what happened, and I paid not enough money or too much money or whatever for this thing." They'd be like, "All right, we'll give you your item back." They're not doing that anymore. They changed the terms of their. They just basically create a page about here's how you don't get scammed, and they said if you get scammed, they don't say like you're SOL, but like they removed the part where they said we protect you from that kind of stuff. And part of the reason they gave is because if they keep re-rolling these items, it's going to destroy the economy.
Yeah, the Valve economy shit is fucking bananas.
It's
like,
insane.
Team Fortress 2 is outrageous.
So, yeah, oh my god, the hats.
Like,
often so oftentimes on Idle Thumbs there'll be like a little anecdote about like the state of the Team Fortress 2 economy and how it's like, well, once upon a time it used to be based on buds, and buds drove the economy, but then they introduced more buds or something, and they crashed the market,
buds.
and then like, well, now it's based on keys and blah 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 blah, and I'm just like, this is so fucking interesting, but I don't give a shit at the same time.
I remember I was playing Team Fortress 2 when the Mac version of it came out, and people were getting buds.
I got buds.
What a shitstorm, man.
I think I still have buds.
Sell them for real money.
I did. I put them on the marketplace, but I don't think they're selling.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, the idea is like if they refund that $400 knife, like they put it back in some guy's inventory, then that $400 knife becomes intrinsically less rare, and therefore fucks with the economy.
Yes.
Which is a valid point, but
yes,
I don't know. If you get scammed doing that,
well,
fuck
if you
you,
get
you're
scammed
stupid.
buying $400 virtual items, you're stupid.
Yeah, you should probably understand the value of what you're buying if you're going in. But
You could buy an Apple Watch for $400.
But that's none of my business. Hey, remember Mojang's game that isn't Minecraft?
Is it Papyrus?
Close. You must be thinking of its prequel, Scrolls.
Oh, you're right.
And there was that whole thing about when they released that game, Bethesda was like, hey, you can't use that. You can't use the word Scrolls because Scrolls is part of our game series name, The Elder Scrolls. I already talked about this, about how it turns out that the reason they're upset was because they're making a card game.
Yeah,
so
all of that.
Mojang Scrolls is like a card game. It's a full price game, not a full price game, but it costs money to play it, and then there's like Hearthstone style free to play stuff in it.
Right.
And they've announced that in 12 months that game isn't going to exist anymore. You can't play it online. Shutting it down 12 months from now. Maybe there's something to do with the fact that now they're owned by Microsoft, and Microsoft doesn't want to support its bullshit anymore because it doesn't make enough money. I don't know.
Well, nobody plays that game, I think.
Well, in an official statement from Mojang, I'm gonna read the quote. The launch of Scrolls beta was a great success. Tens of thousands of players battled daily, and many of them remain active today. Unfortunately, the game has reached a point where it can no longer sustain continuous development.
So, here's the thing about what they just said.
Yes.
Tens of thousand means up to 90,000.
Which is
right?
less than 100,000?
Which is less than 100,000. But many of them remain active. Could be anywhere between like 8 and 89,000.
Yeah. No, I mean clearly it's not enough. Or people are basically saying, well, I don't need to buy all this free to play stuff to continue to have a good time in this game. So the cost of keeping the servers up is not breaking even enough. Yeah, they're probably not losing money. But
they're not making profit.
The profit margin's not high enough that Microsoft wants to continue with this bullshit.
Well, make a better game, I guess. I don't know. I never played it.
Or just make Minecraft for the HoloLens, and then make Minecraft for everything, ever.
Yeah.
Make Minecraft for the N-Gage.
Oh, wait. Already happened. Next.
What? Splatoon. So, the Splatfest... hashtag Team Dogs versus hashtag Team Cats.
Team Dogs, woo!
Hashtag Team Dogs. Got delayed because of they said that there were connection issues that were affecting a large enough part of their player base that they didn't want to hold it. So it's been rescheduled to this weekend. Everybody join Team Dogs and get your Splat on. They added like 8 weapons to that game since it's come out.
Really?
Yeah. Some of them are permutations of other ones with different setups, different weapon sets. One of them is like an SMG, like a high fire rate, even less range. They also have different forms of rollers. They added the paintbrush. They added stuff. They added like 2 or 3 new maps. And I think it was just yesterday they added a new game mode called Splat Tower.
What is it?
It sounds a little bit like King of the Hill. It's called Splat.
Okay.
Let me try and find the specifics of it. But it's called Splat Tower, and there's like a tower that you have to paint.
Do you have to splat?
Yeah, so it's actually, instead of painting the ground, it's about painting a surface.
Neat.
So it's vaguely
Man.
different, but they also said they're going to be announcing one that it sounds like that game mode from Team Fortress. Oh no, this is the one. So it's that game mode from Team Fortress 2 where you have to stand near the cart to push it.
I liked that mode.
That was a cool mode. I usually played the one where you had to capture points, and there were 5 of them, and you had to push towards the enemy's base, and then they would spawn closer, so it was harder to take.
Oh, I like that mode.
That was probably my favorite.
Yeah, that was... Yeah.
So the Splat Tower is... Oh man, I was so wrong about what Splat Tower was.
You fucked up.
The Splat Tower is a box with a tower on it and a platform that moves through the level on a rail. And if you're standing on the tower, I think one person has to be standing on the tower to get it to move. And then it starts moving towards the enemy's base, and if it gets there, you win. And so you need to kill the person on it, and you get your team on it. I think you might have to paint it a certain amount before it'll move. But being on it will at least stop the enemy from moving it. So yeah, it seems it's more content for that game, and that game needed more content.
I burned out on Splatoon so fast.
I kind of did too, but I'm gonna play during the Splatfest for sure.
Might boot it up.
Support #Team Dogs. I like that they're. I read this on Twitter today. Someone mentioned the fact that how did they not continually talk about how much content they were going to be adding to this game? That would have been a huge selling point if they didn't shut up about we're adding all this crap when it starts, and because they've added a lot.
I kind of like how Nintendo just don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I mean they're still doing it, but they're like, oh yeah, we're adding a bunch of stuff, but it's no big deal. It's just Nintendo. We're just
NBD
Nintendo.
put a bunch of shit in our game.
Whatever.
NBD.
And there's even more stages that they're planning on releasing. I don't know the extent of everything, but there's still more stages coming. So we'll expect there'll eventually be more. There'll have to be more than one Splatfest. So we'll see kind of where all that stuff turns up. I'm sure I'll be talking about it again on this podcast because I think that game is cool. As you know, okay. Well, here's actually a story I picked up from GameSpot. The Dota 2 International, it hit a prize pool milestone. It now has a higher prize pool than the Super Bowl and the Masters tournament, the golf tournament.
That's pretty crazy.
So it's now at $15 million in prize money. And as Joe mentioned last week, a lot of that money is coming from people buying the compendium and buying items in-game based on the International. As it gets closer, the International is so much fun. As it gets closer, I might fall into a Dota 2 vortex, and I apologize in advance. It says players have been responsible for over $13 million of the money contributed.
Shit.
Yeah. The International 2015's prize pool blew past last year's total, which itself was the largest esports prize pool ever. Well, for esports, that's not saying that much.
Yeah, but this is regular sports.
Yeah, Masters Golf Tournament was only $10 million.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yo, Dota 2 bigger than Tiger Woods.
It raised $4 million in its first night that they had the compendium available for sale. And you were asking if Russian people even played this game.
I was.
Everybody plays this freaking game.
I don't.
Maybe. No, I'm not even going to say maybe you should. I mean, if you were as long as you don't start playing LOL, then we don't have a problem.
Right.
LOL is a game for babies. So if you're gonna,
this would probably fighting words.
Everyone knows it. It's simplified intentionally. If you're gonna pick one, gotta go Dota 2. It's the original.
I'm gonna pick none.
So, Reggie Fils-Aimé, he went on record. He did an interview
play the game
with Mashable, and he was like, "All right, guys, we know you don't like Metroid Prime Federation Force, because everyone's just like, no, that looks like shit." And he says, "What the fan at home saw was something in the Metroid Prime universe that they weren't expecting. The reaction has been negative. There is an example where fans who aren't able to get their hands on the game may be a bit of a competitive disadvantage." Which I'm guessing they're talking about like the Blast Ball multiplayer mode or whatever.
I think so, yeah.
And he basically just asked them to keep an open mind.
I saw that, and I sent a tweet, and I said, quote, "Please buy this unproven concept that we put the Metroid name on. Please, we're begging you, Reggie."
So you're saying that Nintendo should only be selling games based on the pedigree of their franchises?
No, I think that game could have stood out as a new IP, and it probably would have been very well received.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I think they royally fucked up by putting Metroid on it.
Yeah, maybe. It definitely did not do them any favors, which is why this interview was
soured
happening.
you. For sure.
Oh, no. Well,
yes.
I was off-put by the fact that...
You're butthurt upset because it's not Metroid Prime. For real.
No, I actually don't... You misunderstand. This isn't what you do, where you play a Paper Mario game. I don't think this is a Metroid Prime game. Okay. I don't pick it up going like, oh yeah, this is Metroid Prime 4. Oh my gosh, it's not. I'm so disappointed. Throw it in trash.
I mean, but realistically, at least Sticker Star looked like a Paper Mario game on the surface.
Yeah, but when you saw the word sticker, did you not go like, I don't know about this one, guys?
No, one day we're going to talk about Sticker Star and how it's literally the worst game.
Well, someday I'm going to play it because I bought it for like $10.
Oh, that was too many dollars.
I just wanted to just understand why you hate it so much.
I
also am going to try and beat it without ever spending coins, like actively avoid coins, because one time you said you could beat it without ever getting money. Like, no. Yeah. What I was gonna do is I was gonna avoid as many encounters as I possibly could and beat the game. That was gonna be the way I tried to play that game, but I don't know if I'm still gonna do that. So, anyways, right. Metroid Prime Federation Force.
Yeah.
If it relies too heavily on multiplayer elements, that would be the real factor that keeps you from playing that game.
I think it is gonna do that, but I hope you get it anyway, so you'll play with me.
If there's actually like a point to play with just 2 people, I probably will.
Okay.
But if it's like 4 or bust, it's like fuck that. That's not gonna happen.
That game looks fun, like Destiny looked fun.
And
it reminds me of Destiny.
So you're hoping that it won't let you down like Destiny did.
Yeah.
So it reminds me more of like it's like the Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes of Metroid games.
I mean, yeah, pretty much.
If it turns into that it's just like about the co-op elements, and I'm not gonna have any fun playing it by myself, then fuck that. But if they just
that might be true.
But if they make like a first-person shooter, it's like vaguely set in the Metroid Prime universe, that's fun, I'll probably play it. Sure. I'm still reserving judgment. But if they really have killed Metroid Prime, and I'll never see a real Metroid Prime game again, that's a little bit sad.
Yeah, who knows, man?
So without getting too deep into Xbox One backwards compatibility, apparently Xbox on the website has had a vote going. You could kind of say which games you'd like to see be backwards compatible, because they kind of have to manually make each one backwards compatible based on the way they did this system. Would you want to guess what's the number one most popular, like what people want to see the most get rolled over?
Is it still Red Dead Redemption?
It is Red Dead Redemption, which is a solid pick.
Never played it.
Me neither, but I started playing it once. Hers really good. Definitely.
You know where Tales of Vesperia is?
6?
2,700 something.
Is it really down that low? I thought for sure it'd be a little bit higher than that.
Well, think about how many games are on the fucking 360.
Yeah, but think about how many of those are shit. Like Sneak
lot.
King is not above Tales of Vesperia.
They might be, honestly.
So the other ones around out the top 5 are Call of Duty Black Ops 2, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and Halo Reach.
Okay. Wait. Fuck off.
No, those are fine.
No.
No, those are good.
Fuck off. Everybody who voted. Like, fuck you. Why do you want to play old-ass Call of Duty games? Like, fuck off.
Because they're different.
No.
Those games, Black Ops 2 and Modern Warfare 2, are both very distinct. I actually felt like playing Black Ops 2 recently, but it's not necessarily an option because the people I play that game with don't really have their Xbox hooked up anymore, or at least at 360.
No, fuck
As
off.
for Skyrim, I feel like that's a kind of game that would not work great like running on emulated software.
I think it'll be fine.
It's a big-ass game, man. And Halo Reach, that's just stupid. Halo Reach isn't Halo Reach in Master Collection now?
It is, yeah.
Fuck that, just play that.
No, that's ODST. Sorry.
Oh, it was okay. Halo Reach was really good though. It was one of the Halo games I actually gave a shit about. I didn't care about 3 or 4 or any of that shit, but Reach was pretty good.
Yeah.
Just saying. And finally, it's July 1st, as I mentioned before, which means we're getting some new free games.
Wah.
Do you want to hear about the free games we're gonna get?
I'm so tired. So you better hurry.
I know. I can hear it. Damn.
Fly asleep. You know.
Son.
You know how many hours is past my bedtime?
1,000.
That
4.
That's true. Sure, we'll go with that.
So for the PlayStation game systems, the various ones, for the PS4, there's Rocket League and Styx Master of Shadows. I don't know what Rocket League is. I'm not going to bullshit you.
I saw a picture on Twitter that looked like an RC pickup truck.
Yeah,
that's the only clue I have.
Appears to be what's happening here. I want to say Styx Master Shadow is some kind of tactics RPG where you play as goblins.
Sure,
I think.
All right.
Rocket League is obviously some kind of racing game. It's like a. Oh, it's not a racing game. You play as a car, but you like play soccer or you shoot at other cars or something. Like it's not just a racing game. It seems like a poor man's, or it seems like the RC car version of Twisted Metal.
Sure, fine.
Oh, Styx Master Shadow is an RPG-styled stealth game. For PS3, PS4, and PS Vita, you get Mousecraft, which is like a puzzle game where you help mice through a maze sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Entwined. Hey, I remember seeing that at E3 one time.
Is that the one where it's like a 2-player thing?
Yeah, you play as 2 like birds, and you.
That looked cool.
It does look cool.
I might have bought that with money, but if I didn't, I'm gonna pick that up.
You can play that on PS4, PS3, and PS Vita. On the PS3, you can play Rain, which is a
weather simulator.
It's an adventure game.
Oh,
where
boy.
You're like a ghost, and like there are other ghosts, but like you're only visible in the rain.
What the fuck?
Because like the rain's hitting you, and you can kind of, you know what I'm saying? Hey,
adventure
and
games.
if you have a PS Vita, you can play Geometry Wars 3.
Cool,
but it's only on the PS Vita. Is it free? So
fuck
whatever.
yourself.
I bought the game with money, so whatever.
Okay,
and I didn't play it. The games with gold for Xbox systems. Not going to take as long to talk about. Right now on Xbox One, so they did announce that starting July and every month after that, they're going to make 2 new games available on Xbox One, just like they did for the other system, the 360. So if you have an Xbox One right now, you can go and download Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, which I heard is a decent game in terms of the grand scale of how many goddamn Assassin's Creed games there are. And then you can also get a game called So Many Me, which I believe is debuting in the middle of July, and you can pick it up for free when it comes out.
Sweet.
I don't know anything about this game. Don't get mad at me.
It's a Kinect game where it just multiplies picture view on the TV, Shia LaBeouf style, and then you make a video and put it on YouTube.
Apparently, So Many Me is already on Steam.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna watch. Okay, this looks like a puzzle platformer.
Oh, Christ. It's
A
all
charming
over.
puzzle platformer starring Philo and his band of misfits clones as they attempt to save a world threatened by an ancient malevolent evil. Using their combined powers, Philo and his fellow Me must puzzle their way through a land of exotic creatures, devious traps, and evil minions.
Okay, can I tell you something that has nothing to do with any of this?
Yes.
So, do you remember that game I hate, Thomas Was Alone?
Yes, I do.
Apparently it's like some anniversary for that game, and they're making action figures, and I use that term very loosely.
Because they're just... Well, they made them
Just
three-dimensional.
Blocks.
It's blocks. It's those things that we use in school to count to 10. Because they were
Fuck
segmented. Whatever.
Oh,
I think
that's
that
it.
game is...
Shite.
I think that game was
Bad.
really something.
Bad.
It was a thing that happened. It's a moment in video games that was moderately important. Hey, Ryan, do you have a Xbox 360?
Not for much longer.
Why? Not every game is going to become backwards compatible.
As soon as Tales of Vesperia is on that thing, I'm going to light it on fire. I don't need it anymore.
Well, in that case, until that happens, you can... And also, between now and July 15th, you can download Plants vs. Zombies.
Sure.
360 edition. I like that game a lot, but there's maybe better versions of it.
Like the old one?
Mm-hmm.
Like the first? No, I play it on PC or your iPad.
Well, if it was free on those systems, we could do that, no problem. And then July 16th through July 31st, you can download Gears of War 3
No.
for some reason. It really makes you wonder, like, who is playing these games?
Nobody.
Like, who is just like, yeah, the new games are out? Like, I can only imagine there's, like, a child who, for Christmas, the only thing he got was some kind of console, and he doesn't have a job, and he's just so poor, the only games he ever gets to play are the games that are free.
Honestly, I wish that this existed when we were children.
Oh, it'd been awesome.
That would have been so
And,
dope.
like, you have, like, 2 weeks to just, this is the only game, like Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, just, like, all right,
Done.
I guess I'm going to play this game for 2 weeks, and I get really into it and probably have a great time, but I have so many games to play. It's like,
Ain't that a bitch?
I can't just play any old free game they give me. That doesn't make any sense.
All right, I need to go to bed.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's
Okay.
it. So, tell them about our website, Ryan.
You can go to bearversusman.com. We put stuff on it sometimes when we feel like it.
That's a pretty good description. Hey, so this is coming out on a Friday, right? This podcast?
Yeah.
Are we getting back to it? We're going to try and stay regular from now on?
That's the goal.
We're going to do our best. I think we can do it, though.
I hope so. This is gonna happen on Fridays. You can follow us on Twitter at Bear versus Man. Facebook / Bear versus Man.
Vine.
Search for Bear versus Man. You'll find quality ads.
It's true. It's the only thing you'll find.
I'm starting to put them on YouTube now.
Oh, yeah.
If you're into that, you might be listening to this on YouTube, where our channel is Bear versus Man.
That'd be a little bit easier for some people to reach that way.
Yeah.
And we do have a Twitch account as well. We try
Bear versus Man.
Twitch.tv/Bear versus Man.
That's the one.
We're trying to do we got some plans and stuff. We want to do some things with that because streaming is
Tomorrow.
Maybe. Or if you're listening to this, yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. That's how this works, huh?
Yep. Time.
Bummer.
That time flows in one direction, Ryan.
Well, we'll tweet about it. Anyway.
Almost deaf.
Yeah, so, we're going to do something.
Yeah, just something.
Stay tuned, I guess. All right, I'm falling asleep.
5 stars iTunes review.
Oh yeah, 5 stars on iTunes. Leave us some. Tell your friends about
it
us.
Really helps us out a lot.
Tell your friends because we're lonely.
All right, Ryan, you can go to sleep now.
Thank Jesus.
All right, bye, Ryan.
Bye.